What are you doing? Give me that back. If you don't give me that back, I'm telling you we're about to fight. You don't believe me? All right, let's go. Well, what's up, everybody? I just got a question for you as we dive into Colossians chapter 1 through 4 in today's episode of the Ultra. Do you ever feel like you have to put your helmet on? Do you ever have to feel like you need to defend yourself from constantly being attacked by friends or family, maybe even church members, maybe even Satan himself, from barrages against your faith, your emotions, and maybe even your joy? Well, if you do, Paul is going to be writing to you in the book of Colossians. Here's what he says. He says this. Colossians chapter 3 verse 5 says, "Don't be greedy. A greedy person is an idolater, worshiping things of this world." And sometimes when we try to go about our own life, we become so greedy, like, give me. I want. It's all about me. And so we put on our helmet and we're geared up to fight. We're geared up to go. We're geared up to have our way and demand what we want. But what Paul says is, hey, when it first comes to feeling like everybody's against you, number one, understand this. Do not be greedy. Well, the second thing he's going to tell us about going to war unnecessarily, he says this. Verse 16, "Let the message about Christ and all its richness and fill your lives, teach and counsel each other with the wisdom that he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankful hearts. And whatever you do, you say, do it to represent the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to him through the Father." So sometimes we walk into church and we feel like it's going to be an all-out war. Are we going to do hymns? Are we going to do contemporary? Are we going to do new songs or old songs? How are we going to sing it? Are we going to sing it with a drum set or a piano? Are we going to sing it with an organ or a guitar? Are we going to have one choir? Or are we going to have one band? What are we going to do? And how's worship going to look like? Is our sermon guy, our preacher, going to wear a suit, or is he going to wear skinny jeans? Is he gonna, you understand what I'm saying? And it's just this whole war that we get into sometimes if we're being honest as a church. And what Paul's going to say is, hey, stop it. Stop. Remember this. Do not be greedy. Sing songs, yes. Sing spiritual hymns, yes. Sing new songs to the Lord, absolutely. And everything that you do, give thanks for the Lord for what he's done to you. So before we ever walk in, we're walking in understanding we're not going to be greedy today. We're going to think about other people and we're going to give praise to God. That's how we enter into a conversation about worship, about sermons, and about, so we don't have to put our helmet on. The only helmet that we need in the church is the helmet of salvation, and that's it. But there's also a last thing, number 3, that Paul's going to give us advice on, and that's instructions for a Christian household. He says this, listen to him. "Wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. And husbands, love your wives and treat them harshly." Well, the last category that many of us men struggle with is, hey, we're so hard-headed, we don't even need a helmet, do we? We always want things our way. We always want to do things how we think that they need to be done. But what Paul is saying right here is, hey, you should love your wives like you love the church. And hey, you wives listening right now, you should honor your husband as into honoring the Lord. What I love about this passage is he's saying, hey, I understand arguments are going to happen. Arguments are going to break out between your wife or your husband, whoever you're married to, maybe even in your family amongst your kids or maybe even your parents. Fights happen. Yeah, we're going to argue. But when we argue, we don't need to have our helmets on and get ready and have an all-out a war against each other. If we truly have humility in our hearts, if we truly love one another, when we have those conversations, it's going to be from a place of peace, a place of joy, and a place of restoration. Why? Because the joy of the Lord has filled our hearts and it fills our marriage. So when it comes to arguments or conversations that maybe we disagree on in your marriage, in my marriage, don't come on with a helmet ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to argue. God God gave me this the other day. I say it was God. It was a thought that I had. And I couldn't have thought of anything this good. So here it goes. But it was this. Straight, you can win an argument and you can lose your marriage. And I think that's so true. You don't have to win every argument. You can actually have a place of humility, a place of love, a place of trust, and maybe even confidence in yourself to say, hey, I'm going to love you and I'm going to honor you just as I would honor and love Christ Himself. So when it comes to churches, when it comes to families, or when it just comes to how you relate to people and being greedy, what we're going to say is, God, we're going to lay this all out at your feet. We're going to think of others. We're going to do what you've told us to do. We're going to love God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength. We're going to love our neighbor as ourselves. And if we do those two things, every other commandment in the law, Jesus says this, will be fulfilled. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow we're going to be in 1 Thessalonians, and there's 5 chapters in 1 Thessalonians. So we'll be there tomorrow with all 5 chapters, and I'll see y'all then, and until next time.